Cowboys fall in the finale, 23-19. The final scores. The Washington Commanders drive down the field and cap off a final touchdown to win it. And they improved to 12-5. The Cowboys wrap up the 2024 season at 7-9 with a touchdown to Terry McLaurin with 2 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter. We've got Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Well, that's how it comes to a close, gentlemen.
Yes, that's how the cookie crumbles.
It's exactly right. And the Cowboys going into this weren't playing for much. You got to see a lot out of this team. A lot of young guys got significant playing time. You saw Trey Lance start and play the entirety of the game. You saw Deuce Vaughn get some run. Rico Dowdle still had his opportunities. A lot of young wide receivers with the football. And then Micah Parsons had a big-time day as well. We'll get to all that as we go along. But your thoughts as the Cowboys season comes to a close?
Yeah, without much, team success, looking forward to playing anything for anything as far as playoffs or Super Bowl, anything like that. I loved how this team once again came out to fight. And Mike McCarthy, he's pretty much had his hand on this locker room since day one. Through all the ups and downs, people getting injured, guys in and out of the lineup, he's gotten the most out of his players each and every week. And once again, this is another example of him getting the most out of everybody out there. Like you said, you saw Trey Lance go out there. He had great arm talent. I saw a lot of zip on those footballs out there. Wasn't the most accurate guy, but it's something you could build upon. And as well as Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn went out there and finally got more reps and showed what his ability can be in the National Football League, which I wish we would have saw weeks ago, but it is what it is. But a lot of those young guys out there showed talent, showed promise. This was a game for guys that are on expiring contracts, not sure what the future holds. They went out there and showed grace as well. Jordan Lewis went out there, battled. So to me, this just came down to the fight of this team, and once again, the coaching staff getting the most out of their players as individuals, and I like what I saw going forward.
It was an ugly game. It was call a spade a spade. It was an ugly game. I think what we all most people want to hear about is how do we feel about Trey Lance, right? Trey Lance, to me, went out there and played safe. I think that he showed what he's capable of doing when he plays without any kind of filter. I think majority of this game he played with the filter that he placed on himself to say, hey, let's not make any mistakes. And you saw it in there when he should have had the touchdown to Rico Dowdle. He really just pulled back on it. There were some other throws where he was waiting for guys to come open and he was releasing the ball late, but with a lot of zip on it, right? So he has the arm strength. You obviously saw his running ability. You didn't see him make any turnovers, but you also didn't see him have any touchdowns today. So I think you saw a safe version of Trey Lance. If the Cowboys are in a position to actually have him return, then I think that he's shown enough for you to have him as a backup to a Dak Prescott, all right, or whoever else you want to bring in. So I think that he showed his value. In terms of everybody else, we saw Deuce Vaughn today. I think we all know, at least up here, we've all known what Deuce is capable of, but he hasn't been given an opportunity at all. And defense was more of the same.
Trey Lance, I'm with you on that. I didn't want to see him running around a lot. I wanted to see him play quarterback. I mean, drop back and throw the ball. I think he did a fairly decent job. Turpin been waiting on his opportunity. He got some touches, made some plays. Tolbert, he did okay today. He still ain't knocked me off my socks. But Jason Ferguson a little slack in there, but it's okay. They got through the game. Number 11, our superstar, he played well. Parson, he played well, got 2 sacks, got what he needed to do. Deuce Vaughn, hey, we all talking about him. Wish we would have saw more of him earlier. And I like how the guys just played hard the whole game. They could have laid this thing down, but they played hard the whole game. Gave Washington a handful, and it always seems to be a wacky game with Washington, but they knocked us out of our misery, so in the game.
Yeah, that's really the thing. Is at the end of it all, the air kind of left the building. Cowboys got into it late, had the touchdown from Rico Dowdle to go up 19-16. So you had things moving in the right direction. Felt like you were going to end on a high note. Either way, as this season comes to a close, Barry, I think you outlined it in a great way. Mike McCarthy, with the cards that he was dealt this year, ended up with 7 wins.
Yeah, he did.
Almost 8 wins, almost 9 wins, but of course, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
That's true.
So you end up with 7-9. That's your record. That's what you've got for the 2024 season. Lasting impressions on what is going to be an offseason full of change in what the 2024 season was.
Yeah, I think this team will look totally different going into next offseason. You'll have your few, building blocks, the Parsons of the world, the CD Lambs, the Dax, but those guys, in the middle of the roster and definitely towards the bottom of the roster, you'll see a lot of change. I feel like they'll get a lot of competition coming in here from either free agents or draft picks that'll juice up the roster a little bit and get a little bit more talent. I mean, we saw going against that Philadelphia game the week before how much that talent disparity was. I mean, you got to get better on this roster, and I think you'll see a lot of that come this offseason.
I like what Coach McCarthy has done during his tenure here. Obviously, he had 2 non-winning seasons. He had the COVID year, and he had this year where he faced a bunch of injuries. Other than that, right in the middle of that were 3 really good winning seasons, 12-win seasons. I think that he deserves a lot of respect for that. I think he deserves a lot of respect for what he did in regards to this coaching staff, the changes that he went through during his tenure here. He gave up his offensive coordinator. He brought in a new defensive coordinator. There's a whole lot of change that took place in addition to the injuries that he sustained this year to his roster, and those guys held it together. We're sitting here in the last game of the year talking about how these guys went out there and competed. You never saw any finger pointing. You never saw any guys walking off the sideline. You never saw anybody talking about each other in the media. None of that stuff happened. With that said, I do think, like you said, Barry, change is coming. I don't believe that Coach McCarthy will be coming back. That's my opinion. I think that there's going to be a cleaning of house. And with that, there's going to be a whole new era that starts with the Dallas Cowboys. And with the new era comes new personnel. And you have to go through that whole cycle all over again. It's going to be a long offseason and a lot of changes to happen.
26 unrestricted free agents, just guys that straight out can leave. Coach McCarthy, y'all know how I feel. I want him here. I want it on the 15th. I want to be like, hey, what's up, Coach? But it might not happen that way. But Isaiah, what you said all year from middle of the year, our assistants, we have to put a little bit more value in our assistants. They are not who you think they are. And what I mean by that, you have to challenge players. I see a lot of players walking around here with their chests out, and when Sunday comes, they disappear. What are you doing Monday through Saturday? You have to challenge some of these players, and some of our assistants need to go.
It's all about technique in that regard because the effort's there, pointing to your points, and part of why there is at least a decision to be made in terms of Mike McCarthy returning. All right, as we wrap things up, who's one guy that you want to see return in a Cowboys uniform next year that's possibly going to hit that open market in a couple weeks?
Oh, give me Turpin without a doubt. I mean, bring him back here. We know what he brings special teams-wise.
He is a restricted free agent, so that's good. Yeah. Yes, it's restricted, so
bring him back.
You can still bring him back.
Bring him back again.
He's hitting a market, and there will be a paycheck.
And get him a little bit more involved offensively. I mean, this guy's explosive with the ball in his hands. We understand what he brings to the return game, but get him involved more offensively, I think, or you can have a little bit more explosion with him in the backfield or wherever you want to put him. But Turpin, that's a guy I'd like to bring back.
One man that you can't afford to lose, but you're most likely going to lose because you probably can't afford him, Jordan Lewis.
Ooh.
Jordan Lewis has been the backbone, has been the heart of this defense. He doesn't talk a whole lot in terms of the media. He talks a lot on the field, but he talks a lot with his pads. And that's he takes care of business not only in coverage, but he also has a major force in the running game. He's been the unsung hero of this defense for years, regardless of the defensive coordinator, whether it was Dan Quinn or Mike Zimmer. You lose him, you're going to miss somebody in the middle there.
I don't know if this guy restricted or whatever, but and I hate to say this because y'all may laugh at me. You got to bring back the kicker.
Yeah,
that's the most consistent thing you got. You better bring back Brandon Aubrey. I know who you are, bro, and I tease you a lot.
Yeah.
But when this thing starts to change and when they start to get more competitive, he's going to be a deciding factor in a lot of winning.
He's also restricted.
He's restricted. Yeah, he's not going to work. Another name outside of Jordan Lewis, Osa Odigizua.
That was the name I was thinking of.
Osa,
he's gone.
You're not. I don't believe. Yeah, he gone.
Let's
go over there.
Wait. We're so early in this offseason.
Listen.
No way.
This is coming from from players, right? This is coming from former players.
The way 20 minutes into this thing.
Understand that both of those guys have played through numerous defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
Both of those guys have played through different regimes, right? And different systems. They've been asked to do different things, and they've produced in both. Right, so understanding how consistent the play has been from both of those players, regardless of who's coaching them, regardless of what's being asked of them, regardless of the system, their value and it's their time. Right, you get 1, maybe 2 opportunities in your entire career from the time that you're 6 years old and you put some cleats on to the time that you get to the league to get your money. These guys are not going to miss their opportunity in getting their money. And for all the fans out there, they're going to say, "Oh, well, yeah, what about the team?"
Ain't no discounts.
It's I before team. That's just the reality. You would love to have it, right? When you're one of the star players, I'm just keeping it real. When you're one of the star players and you're in a Dak or a CD position and you're making all this money, you can make those Tom Brady calls. I'll take 10 grand, 10 million less, right? I'll take 10 million less so you can go out there and make the team better. When you're one of these guys that have been going through it, overcoming injuries, overcoming different systems, and you finally get your payday, you're going to get your bread.
The bottom line is you have 16 weeks, training camp in 18 weeks. If you want to sign up one of these free agents, you've had all year. That's you can sign your own guys. Once this thing open up, which is tomorrow, All bets off.
And that's exactly the case. It's the reality of the NFL and how this league happens all the way through. So lots to discuss, lots to go through, and we are just beginning the Cowboys offseason going into the 2025 campaign. The Cowboys cap off the 24 campaign with a loss against the Washington Commanders, 23-19, the final score. We leave you with the final stats brought to you by Miller Lite. Cowboys fall to 7-9 as their season comes to a close. We thank you for watching The First Word all year long on DallasCowboys.com. For Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long for the final time.